What's up, you guys? Hey. Happy Sunday evening to you guys. Well, we are here for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I need to change. I think I have the wrong, not I think. I know I have the wrong episode. It's episode 11, not episode 10. But we are here. And I'm sorry I had to push the time back. I had a phone call I had to take. And so I was late watching the episode. So let's get into it. Because look. I know all y'all want to talk about is Porsha and Shamea. So let me go on and get through what I need to get through, honey. So the first scene we have is Charles and Angela. Child, we don't care about that. Like, they ain't talk about nothing. She had to let us know that Charles making money. That was it. She had to let us know that Charles was making money, which I'm here for it. She again had to child. I ain't spending a whole bunch of time on Charles and Angela. She said, "This our love language." He was like, "No, it's not." Baby, every chance Charles gets to embarrass you, I just need you to know he does. Every chance he gets to embarrass you, he does, y'all. Anyway, but then I'm gonna just go ahead and get them all the way out the way. Later on in the episode, we see Angela talking to her mother. She talked about the fact that she bought her mother this house, but it looked like the mama is moving into another house because she said she wants some of her independence back. But it sounded to me like she don't want to be. I feel like she doesn't want to be. Whatever happened between the mama and the daughter, I feel like the mama was like, "Listen. You gave me this house, which means that it's my house. So if it's going to come with stipulations, if it's going to come with rules, if it's going to come with limitations, then you can take it back." That's what it sounded like happened to me. The mama was like, "You can have this damn house back. If that means that I'm going to have to allow my granddaughter to disrespect me." And I'm not saying that the daughter did or didn't, but obviously the mama felt that way because the mama said what she said to the child or the sister. So whatever the situation is, baby, the mama moved out that house. Right. She don't want to feel indebted to her. And I feel like, because what it sounds like to me is because you heard her even say it, well, I bought my mother that house. And I mean, you mean my daughter can't stay there? Yeah, because it's not your house. You bought it for somebody. It's theirs. You don't get to tell people how they use a gift. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to tell somebody how they use a gift. You said, I want to buy my mother this house so she's independent and she's not reliant. And this is what I wanted to do for her. You did that. So once you gave her the house and you gave her those keys, baby, if your mama wanted to rent that house out as an Airbnb, that's her house. So then, because going back to what the daughter said, she went over there to borrow the car talking about something. It's the car that my mama paid for. But it's not your car and it's not your mother's car. If your mother bought that car for her mom or her sister, again, her mama can let everybody in the family use that car except for you if she don't want to. That's why, and that's what I got from that. So we don't, I mean, I could sit here, but I feel like I'm not getting into all the ins and outs with the sister and the mama and Charles. Because again, it sounds like, they probably got disrespectful with Charles. And Charles sound like he real quick to be like, yeah, I'm not. You're not going to talk to me crazy. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like the mama said something slick out her mouth. And, some people are not used to people saying what they mean and meaning what they say the first time. And Charles seems like a mean what I say what I mean the first time kind of person. So I feel like the first time that mama got out of line with Charles, he was like, and he meant that thing. He's probably not rude to her mama, but he's probably not overly polite to her either. Like, that's what I got from that. So anyway, moving right along. Oh, the mom did pass away? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I definitely hope. Yeah, I hope they worked it out. All right. So then we have Drew. I'm going to go ahead and knock Drew out the way too, because we got two scenes with Drew, and then we're going to get back to this Porsha and Shamea, because that's the majority. Kelly and her daughter. I mean, again, it was a cute scene to see her teaching her daughter how to drive and her talking about I honestly feel like this was Kelly's way of explaining why she ain't paid that money on this Sandy Springs house. I mean, on the Sandy Springs location, and why the Sandy Springs location ain't working. Like, I feel like that was her moment for that. Because this is the second scene that we have seen her teaching her daughter how to drive. And I just feel like it's cute. Don't get me wrong. It's a cute moment. It's a cute scene. But how many scenes do we need to see of you teaching your daughter how to drive? Yeah. That daughter's a romantic. Listen, anybody that has ever taught somebody how to drive, I don't feel like her daughter was doing anything that's out of the norm of when you are teaching somebody how to drive. Like, your depth perception is off. You think you can do more than what you think you can do. You know what I'm saying, child? Moving right along. So let's get into the Drew of it all. Now, it's interesting because now that I have read through the court documents, I sort of have a different perception on this Drew Ralph situation. Now, before I get into this, let me just say this. I still feel like Ralph is an ass. But Drew is trying to sell this like he's trying to get my lawyer recused from the case. And how did she... and how dare he try to get my daughter? He's just trying to drag this on. And if I have to get a new lawyer, then I have to start over from the beginning, which that might be what his goal is. But you made it easier. You made it easier for him because if, and I say if, because we read through the court documents, and just because Ralph said it doesn't make it true. However, he did attach his receipts. He attached his receipts. If the judge told y'all not to do anything financial while the divorce is going on, which is standard operating procedure when there's a divorce, standard operating procedure says that y'all don't do anything with the money, right? Don't change any bank accounts, don't empty any bank accounts, don't sell any real property, don't do any of that. And if Drew and Ralph's LLC was set up in a way in which Ralph was getting paid through the LLC, which he said he was, which is what was in those court documents, then by Drew's attorney starting a new LLC and the money being funneled through the LLC, the new LLC that was started versus the LLC that had already been established, what it sounds like to me is Drew and her attorney violated the court order. Now, the argument can be made that Ralph is an ass. Absolutely. But my thing is, when you know you're dealing with a certain type of person, don't give them the ammunition. Don't give them and I know that's easier said than done, because I know that the last thing she wanted to do was to continue to funnel money to him. I get it. I understand that. But if the judge said don't do it and you did it anyway, then, so looking at that whole scene, Drew is trying to sound so innocent, like she didn't do anything wrong, like she don't understand why he's doing this, da-da-da-da-da. Hold on a second, y'all. I'm sorry. Hold on a quick second. So, with that being said, I'm looking at this scene and I'm just like, Drew, I get it. Again, I'm not making no excuses for Ralph, and I do think Ralph is an ass, but I also feel like when you know you're dealing with a certain caliber of person, don't give them the ammunition. And I feel like that's what Drew did or is doing. Then she talked about how he locked her out of the house. I think that's some petty shit. I think that is some petty shit. And I really don't have, there's no reason for you to do that, Ralph. Like, why would you change the security code and not give it to her? Even if you had a legitimate reason to change the security code, you didn't have a legitimate reason not to give it to her. Exactly, little baby. The lawyer put herself in a bad position because, again, if that had been, because again, and I hear what everybody in here, I know we hate Ralph. I get that. But had that been a woman and a man, and if the roles were reversed, that a woman was getting paid out of a certain account and the husband closed that account and opened up a separate account and then had all of his paychecks going to the new account, that's essentially what Drew did. Then everybody would be up in arms and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that to her. Why would he do that to her? Why would he do that to her? Well, we can disagree on whether Ralph should have been getting money through Drew's LLC, but the point is, the fact remains, he was. And he had been for the majority of their marriage. And the judge said, don't stop. And Drew did. Now, we can argue whether we like Ralph or not, but if the situation were reversed, we would be up in arms. If Ralph had done that to Drew, we'd be up in arms like, how dare he? Why would he do that? Oh my gosh. What's good for the goose? Move right along. Now let's get into, so then the mama was there and the mama told her that her kids are out of control. The mama said, the one thing I don't agree with is that the judge got both of y'all living in this house. I don't think that's good for your kids' mental health. All of us have said the same thing. All of us have said, why would the judge say that they have to live in this space together, but don't tell the kids that y'all are getting a divorce? I told y'all, I don't believe that that's what the judge said. I don't believe that that's the spirit of what the judge said. Because again, what was in the court documents was that the judge ordered that the kids go to counseling. I felt like the kids go to counseling. I mean, the court document, and Ralph was accusing Drew of not putting the kids in counseling. What I feel like maybe the judge said, and I wasn't there, I'm just using a little bit of my own, like what I think is common sense. What the judge may have said was, I feel like there needs to be therapy, and maybe the therapist, through therapy, y'all should have the conversation and explain to the kids what's going on with the divorce. Because it's clear that left up to their own devices, Drew and Ralph can't do this shit. Like, if I were the judge, I wouldn't trust Drew and Ralph to have that conversation with the kids. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So I feel like what the judge said is, I don't want y'all to tell the kids that this divorce is happening. However, I feel like the judge said, I think there should be a professional involved in that conversation. And again, if Ralph is telling the truth, which I don't know if he is or not, but if Ralph is telling the truth, what Ralph said is that Drew has not done that. That Drew has not put those kids in therapy. Now that's what Ralph said. Because I just don't believe, it doesn't make sense to me that a judge would say, y'all have to live in that house together. Ralph lives in the basement. Drew, you live upstairs. The kids are in the house, but y'all can't tell the kids y'all going through a divorce. That don't even make no sense to me. Now, I know crazier things have happened in a courtroom. I understand that, but I just have to go with my own common sense, because I can't believe nothing that's coming out of Ralph or Drew's mouth. If I'm being honest, I don't believe neither one of them. So I have to hear what they saying and come up with my own conclusion. And that's my conclusion. Now, I don't know what y'all said. It also seems like Drew is living above her means. Why Ralph can't put them in therapy? Why is it Drew's job to do it? I don't know. The judge didn't tell them not to tell the kids about the divorce. That's Drew's adding stank to it. Yeah, I just don't believe that. You're right, but Drew feels he wasn't managing her anymore, so why pay him? Because the judge told her not to stop. You see what I'm saying? Like, I understand how Drew might feel, but again, that's what the judge said. See, we can't make up our own rules because we don't like what the rules are. The judge told her, and that's standard operating procedure for most divorces. Don't change anything. While the divorce is going on, y'all cannot sell real property. Y'all can't make major financial changes as it relates to what y'all are in the business to, what's in the business together. Now, maybe in Drew's mind, because the LLC was established before she met him, that didn't count. But if he was getting paid out of that LLC, it does count. You know what I'm saying? I have the kids moving back and forth between two homes. It's too drastic for the kids. Outside of them fighting for the house, the judge is like, don't disrupt their life anymore. I understand why they're living in the same house. Like, I can get that. It's stupid, but I understand it. That's why I don't think that the judge said, don't tell them that y'all are going through a divorce. I think the judge said, y'all need to go through therapy. Now, why Drew is responsible for doing it, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Again, that... And again, that's going to be a he said, she said. Drew might say, I found some therapists and Ralph didn't like any of them. Ralph might say, I found some therapists and Drew didn't like any of them. You know what I'm saying? It could be a situation where they just couldn't agree on the therapist to send the kids to. I don't know. As a parent, why wouldn't you want to have your children in counseling considering the messy divorce they're having? I agree. Now, the other thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to get into this Shamea portion of it all, because I know that's what y'all here for. The other thing I'm going to say is when her mother told her, your kids are acting different. They're not listening. They're out of control. And even they don't even listen to me. I have two thoughts on the situation. Thought number one that I have on the situation is, Drew, your kids acting different. Like, your kids. Your kids are acting different. Your kids aren't listening to you. You said that yourself 2 weeks ago when the little girl got sassy with you when you was telling her it was time to go and get dressed and get ready for whatever, when she had to leave the house and it was Rob's weekend. Remember the girl got sassy and she said that the kids are a little, that she said that the kids are a little challenging because they know what's going on. They sense something's going on. And so she acknowledged it herself, right? I think the emotions came from when you hear somebody else say it, I think it hits different. Right? For her mother to say, listen, they're not even listening to me. It hits different. So I give Drew a lot of, I give Drew a lot, but I think those feelings were genuine, but I think it was the totality of the situation, not just that moment, right? I think it was the totality of it. Like, damn, like it's not just me, right? So with that being said, let's get into the Porsha Shamea of it all. Now, Porsha, if you don't stop producing this damn show, I know you better. Yesterday, Porsha had all the internet a buzz when she posted this down to her Instagram. She says, Lord, now I can't find. She says, I'ma just say this. I'm watching new episode, Shamea Morton. Now, don't take it there. Don't imply shit about Diane Williams. I've been keeping it cute, quiet, and you can do and say what you want in me. But hear me when I say wrong road. Talking about, well, your mom thought my mom was a friend, knowing goddamn well what she did to my mom was highly egregious. I'm sorry, I was going to say another word. Highly egregious. Don't do it. Keep playing victim and that BS. Don't F with my mom. Y'all. When I saw this episode tonight, I said, Porsha, you are really pulling it. you are really playing in our faces because it was not that deep. It was just not that deep. Now, word on the curb is and I don't know this to be a fact. What's up, Jonathan? Word on the curb is, and I don't know none of this to be a fact. This is what I heard. This is not a fact. This is what I heard. That the reason why Shamea mama and Porsha mama fell out is because one of the mamas did the same thing, allegedly, to the other mama that Porsha did to Fallon. Now, y'all put the story together how y'all want to put the story together. I'm not saying who did what. I'm not even saying it's true. I'm saying I heard that one of the mamas did to the other mama what Porsha allegedly did to Fallon. Now, that's what I heard. Again, I don't know it to be true. Now, let's get into what happened. Shamea went and met with Cynthia so they could sort of talk about what had happened down to the Pamper event. And that's when Shamea made the comment. She said, listen, what she said, now the way to hear Shamea tell the story, Shamea was like, I didn't just go out talking ish. I wasn't out just talking ish about Porsha. She said, I was out with the girls and they asked questions and that was the conversation. I'm going to be honest and say, I can believe that was how the conversation happened because that's what it sounds like it could have happened that way. Like, so girl, you mean you never felt no kind of way about when Porsha pretended like she didn't know that was you singing? Like, I could see, especially with the show, right? I could definitely see them trying to create a moment, right? I question Shamea's actions. Why bring up the friendship with the mothers? It wasn't known all these years. Shamea always is a victim. Annoying. Lord, Phil, me and Phil can't just never get right. Lord. Anyway, I feel like it could have happened that way, right? But I question it happening. Thank you for the super chat. I'm sorry. Thank you, Phil, for the super chat, my love. But I question it happening because it didn't happen on camera. Now, if that conversation had happened on camera and it started with them asking Shamea's questions and then Shamea saying what she said, I could kind of see it happening that way. But the fact that it didn't happen on camera, I'm still side-eyeing you a little bit, Shamea, because why even have the conversation with these women? Like, on camera, I can almost understand it on camera, right? I can almost understand it on camera, but if it didn't happen on camera, if you asking me about me and my best friend, girl, that's not your business. Now, Shamea said, so how the mothers came up was Shamea was saying that her mom and Porsha's mom used to be thick. They used to be best friends. And she said, and when their friendship fell out, her and Porsha still managed to maintain their friendship, but they did have to navigate some things. I don't think it was out of line to bring it up in the context that it was brought up in. I don't feel like she just straight up was like, and Porsha mama did this to me. Like, I don't feel like that. I feel like the way in which she brought it out, I was here. I understood it. Then the fact that Porsha's mama made some derogatory comments about Shamea earlier in the season. Now, I'm going to be honest. When I was first watching this scene, I was like, now, how did Shamea know what Porsha mama said? But then we found out later on that Porsha had actually told her what her mama said, which I don't know why, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So in that instance, I do understand why it was brought up, because Porsha's mama was talking shit about her. I mean, yeah. And Porsha took it back to Shamea. So I could understand her saying, listen, we had to navigate through our parents being best friends and then our parents not speaking anymore. And we had to navigate our friendship through that. And then to find out that her mom is now saying, I'm a snake and I'm this and I'm that, that's hurtful. And that's something that we're dealing, that is a problem for me that I'm processing. I 100% get that. I don't think it came out of nowhere in the context of what was happening, because Shamea didn't bring it up until this stuff happened with her and Porsha. Now, I don't know when Porsha told her what her mama said, but it wasn't like Shamea didn't bring it up until now. So I don't think it was out of pocket, but that's just my opinion. So her and Cynthia had that conversation. We'll get to that when we get to it, but it could have been on camera, but the producers chose not to show it. So here's what I'm gonna say, Chuck. I hear you, and I thought about that too. I thought about, well, maybe this was done on camera, but the producers didn't show it. The reason why I don't feel like the reason why I don't feel like it was filmed is because y'all know how Bravo roll. Even if they had decided to scrap that conversation, they would still have clips of the conversation. And the fact that all they've shown us is their Instagram footage of where they went on Instagram and posted video of them out to eat to reference, oh, this was the conversation. That's what makes me think that this wasn't done on camera. They filmed at the studio and they went out to eat after the studio. So that's why I think that. I could be wrong, but production is good for having a receipt. And if they've had so much conversation about this conversation, I feel like they would have a clip. Even if they didn't show us the whole thing, I feel like they would have a clip to show us. I could be wrong, but that's why I feel that way. Yeah, so they have been filming all day. So I feel like when they left the studio, they weren't filming and they decided to go out and get something to eat. And I also think that might be another reason why Shamea was comfortable in saying maybe more than she would have said on camera. But I could be wrong, but that's just why I feel that way, Chuck. But I could be wrong. It might come up at the reunion. You know, they might pull out some stuff at the reunion. Then we see Porsha go bowling with Cynthia and Angela, and they end up talking about it. And you know what? As much as Porsha irritates my soul, the one thing that Porsha said in this whole because I don't care nothing about her talking about PJ missing Pop and all that. I don't care nothing about that. The one thing that she said that I did agree with in this moment, she said, look, I'm dealing with a divorce. I don't have the bandwidth to divorce my best friend. Like I don't have the bandwidth. As much as I'll say me, I ain't gonna speak for y'all. As much as I might feel like she got into that marriage through methods that I thought were real fugazi, it doesn't change the fact that she was in that situation, and that situation is now over. And at the very least, we know her lifestyle had to change, right? At the very least, her ass got to go back to work. You know what I'm saying? And for her, I felt that. I feel like she meant that in that moment. I honestly feel like she meant that in that moment. Like, look, I don't have the bandwidth for this. Like, it's bad enough that I'm dealing with this bullshit with this dude that I married, and he down on Instagram trying to embarrass me every other day, and he divorcing me, trying to put me out this house, trying to take back this Bentley. Like, I got a lot going on. I don't have the bandwidth for this. Do I think Porsha is innocent? No, I don't think Porsha is innocent, but I do believe that Porsha was like, I can't. I can't. Then we see Porsha and Shamea actually sit down. Dang, it's only been 30 minutes. Oh Lord. Then we see Porsha and Shamea sit down. Shamea hooked Porsha up with Simon. That's not true. See, Phil, that's not true. That is not true. Shamea did not hook Porsha up with Simon. That is not what happened. That's not what happened. Anyway, Lord, not Andrew said I'll never be able to hear pop again after last week, child, down to the Diddy trial, right? Porsha admitted that her friendship with Porsha has been strained, but keeps lying, saying she's a great friend to her. And that is the crux of the issue for me, Nikki. I honestly feel like when she said that she's been handling her friendship with Porsha with care, what that says to me is that you walk on eggshells around your friendship with Porsha because you want to stay friends with Porsha for whatever the reason is. As I think sometimes we hold on because it's what we've always known, right? Me and her have been friends since high school or elementary school. She's always been my friend. And sometimes just because you've always been friends doesn't mean you should always stay friends. Same thing with a marriage. Just because you've been married for 30 years don't mean you need to stay married for 30 more, you know? If it no longer serves you, it no longer serves you. To say that I have to walk on eggshells around the person that I call my best friend, that's not a real friendship, because that's one of the few people you shouldn't have to feel that way around. You know what I'm saying? So her and Porsha sit down to have lunch. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and again, I hate when I have to agree with somebody that I don't be wanting to agree with. But can I tell y'all something? I was exhausted watching this conversation for Porsha. I was exhausted for Porsha watching this conversation because, girl, Shamea, can you shut the fuck up and let somebody finish a sentence? Porsha couldn't even finish a thought. Porsha couldn't even finish a sentence. I'm not even saying that I was going to agree with what the hell Porsha said, but she never got a chance to finish saying it. It was like, girl, you exhaust me. Shamea is exhausting. That conversation was exhausting because you wouldn't even let Porsha tell the lie if she was going to lie. Like, we don't even know if she was lying. I don't even know if she was going to lie or not. Girl, you wouldn't even let her tell you to lie. And when she was telling you to stop, she wasn't saying stop like she was trying to silence you. She was like, stop. Like, you are verbally beating me up right now. And she was. Like, Shamea would not let Porsha say shit. And I was like, how can you even... This isn't a conversation. Because a conversation is I talk, I stop, I listen. And I listen to understand, not listen to respond. And then when... I don't know who said this, but somebody said... I remember somebody said one time... I don't remember who said it, y'all. So if y'all, I don't know if it was a TV show or somebody in my life, if I'm being honest. But I remember somebody saying, in a conversation, there should be pauses. And the reason why there should be pauses is because if you're talking to me and I am listening to understand, then I shouldn't be ready as soon as you get done talking to talk back. There should be a pause, because there should be a point in time in which I'm thinking, like, I'm taking in what you just said. Shamea would not shut the fuck up. Hold on. Phil said, hot damn, we agree. Shamea was exhausting. Shamea was trying to make a scene for the show. Shamea is not to be trusted at all. Being a victim always. Lord, they go Phil, y'all. They go. Y'all know how Phil get when he... Y'all know how Phil is when he decide he likes somebody or don't like somebody, honey. It is to the mattresses. Yes, so true. Playing the victim and making a scene. Thank you for your contribution again, and I agree. Oh, right. Thank you, Phil, again for the super chat, boo. When Porsha said she was uncomfortable, she acted like that was wrong. Right. And I feel like she was saying, like, I'm uncomfortable in this space with you right now. And again, I'm going to be 100% honest. I said it last week, and I still feel the way I feel. Shamea, I'm not going to say she did it for the show, but you definitely created this moment. You definitely created this moment. I feel like It was something, I'm trying to remember. It was something Shamea said. Oh, when Shamea said something about why can't I get the Porsche on camera, off camera, and you said to me they're gonna have to pay me a lot more for that. I didn't take it the way you want us to take it, right? I feel like you want us to take that comment a certain way, and I'm not taking the comment that way. The way I'm taking that comment is, listen, we are now talent on a television show. They're going to get entertainment. They're not going to get our real situation. Like, we're not going to really be kikiing, telling our deepest, darkest secrets on screen. They're going to get the surface. They're going to get me twerking in the middle of the bowling alley. They're going to get me showing up with my new purse and my new this. And like, that's how I took it. Because listen, if me and my best friend get cast on a reality show, guess what? They're not going to get our real either. They're going to get the surface. Y'all know what? Some of y'all know I went on a girls trip this weekend with some of my closest friends. I promise you, what we talked about in them four walls of that house where we were this weekend, 99% of that will never make it out of that house. Like we were re-energizing, we were connecting, we were sharing what we had going on in our real life. And that shit is not to necessarily be shared with everybody. I feel like in that moment, do I feel like Porsha has always been a good friend to Shamea? No, I don't. But I also feel like in that moment, you didn't help your cause, Shamea, in my opinion. In my opinion, you didn't help me, you know. Okay, Andre, you really love you some Porsha, honey. I see you, Andre. I see you, boo. Shamea been showing out for this camera since she got that peach, but this does not feel like she was getting some payback with Porsha. She gets her chance to embarrass her. Yeah, I feel like Shamea, when Shamea, like I said, for me, it was all summed up for me when Shamea said that she was getting her get back. I mean, Lord, that's not what she said. When she said that she has to walk around on eggshells and she has to manage her relationship with Porsha, that told me right there that they not real friends. I think Shamea let them put a battery in her back. I do too. I agree. What she didn't expect was for Angela to pull the okie doke on her. Angela was messy as hell, but baby, I told y'all where Kenya put her peach down, Angela picked it up and ran with it, baby, because that looked like something Kenya would have done. Like that was a Kenya move that Angela pulled last week, and it was done. Well done, Angela. Like that. I told y'all that's Housewives 101 right there. That's Housewives 101 right there. Like what Angela did last week, baby, that was it. Girl, you made this season. You made this season. Okay. It was something else that was said. Back to this whole mother situation. In my opinion, Porsha, I feel like you put 20 on 10 again. It's your mama. I can't tell you how to feel about your mama because I know some people are just like when it comes to the kids. I know some people are like, nah, if you mention my kids, you talking about my kids. And I don't always agree with that, but I don't have children, so I can't tell somebody how to feel about their kids. I know I have a mama, so I can speak on this. Somebody's saying, look, me and my mom and her mom used to be best friends, and their friendship fell out. And we've had to learn how to, navigate around that to maintain our friendship. And then to say, her mom said some things about me that were very hurtful. I don't feel like that was crossing the line, because even when production said what happened between the mothers, Shamea was like, I'm not speaking about that. So I feel like Shamea was respectful and giving her peace without crossing the line. Now, of course, she opened the door to some thoughts like, well, why did they fall out? But I don't feel like it was Shamea's damned if she do and damned if she don't. Porsha knows she can't beat Angela in this game, so she's joining Angela. She knows she can smart, and she can't outsmart Angela. Shamea knows that now the fans want to know what went down between the moms. It was a passive-aggressive way to open a can of worms. Okay. With all that money and access Shamea has, she is always looking like an overdressed. Yeah, I hate how Shamea dresses. It's hard to take her seriously when they show us what she has on. Her fashions are distracting. Yeah, she said that the other day. She said, I get worse dressed, and you do. I think it had to do with a man. Well, see, SCK, you weren't in here earlier when I said what I heard on the streets. So I'm gonna say it one more time because I'm about to get off of here. What I heard on the streets, I don't know it to be true. I don't know it to be a fact. What I heard on the streets was one of the mamas did to the other mama what Porsha allegedly did to Fallon. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, and I don't know which mama it was. But what I heard was one of the mamas. Okay. They're arguing, but not saying what they're really arguing about. We need an open panel. It won't be tonight because I'm about to get up off of here and go to bed. It won't be tonight, Phil. I did an open panel last week. Where were you? I did a whole open panel last week. You must have been working, honey. Tell it. Scotty wouldn't tell it. I told you what I know. That's what I don't know. I don't know a specific story. I just heard that one of the mothers did to the other mother what Porsha was accused of doing to Fallon. I don't know it to be true though. All right, y'all. I'm about to get up off of here. I will talk to y'all. Don't forget the Whether You Like It or Not panel is here tomorrow night. So meet me back here at 8:30-ish so that we can get into the things with the panel. I'm sure that JoJo will have his cape on for Drew and her tears tomorrow. Not I blame Tamar's baby here. And on that note, I know I'm getting up off of here. Shamea Morton did a YouTube video that Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 was filmed in the summer 2024. It was. It was. You didn't know that, Andre? You didn't know this was filmed last summer? Summer 2024 was last summer. We knew that when earlier in the season when Kelly was talking about she wanted the new location open by, what did she say, 4th of July weekend, right? So we knew it was filmed last summer because if she wanted it open by 4th of July weekend, and then the Kenya's hair care the event, the opening was the beginning of last June. So yeah, we knew it was last summer. Mm-hmm. Not I have my bushel of tomatoes. Thank you, Ravine Boo. How you doing? Now I might get 5 more bushels. Lord, I'm about to let them know that they ready for you tomorrow, JoJo. They got the tomatoes ready because they know you're gonna come in with your cake tomorrow. Because Drew dropped them tears, honey. And Portia's birthday is in June. Yeah, so yeah, we knew it was last summer. Yeah. I mean, that's usually about right for these reality shows. Like, it's usually a 6 to 8 month window from when they film it to when the show comes out. It's usually a 6 to 8 month window. Mm-hmm. We're in episode 11, so we're now in the middle of May. So we're in episode 11. So the show's been on for about roughly 2 months now. So that's about right. The show premiered in April. March. What? It premiered in like March. So yeah, that's about right. That timeline is on point. And remember, Atlanta was on pause, so it had been like a year before that. Like when New Jersey finally comes back, my goodness, it'll be like a 2-year window by the time we get New Jersey back. So, like, they're filming Married to Medicine now. They're filming The Real Housewives of Potomac now. They're filming I don't think they've started filming Beverly Hills yet. So yeah. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. I will talk to y'all later again. Don't forget to be here tomorrow at 8:30-ish for us to get into all of the things. I think we're going to have a full panel this tomorrow night. I know Scotty will be there. I'm almost certain. I believe Busy. I know he said he's going to be traveling in the next couple of weeks, but I think Busy might be there tomorrow. I'm not sure. But we should have a full panel tomorrow, you guys. So I look forward to seeing y'all. Make sure y'all get there early so y'all can get y'all seat. Y'all know my members over here, my subscribers over here, my people that, you know, be over here all the time. Y'all go ahead and make sure y'all get y'all seat, okay? All right. Mwah. I'll talk to y'all later. Good night.